Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this first edition of Rodeo Houston Live. We have changed the name and are moving forward under a new brand on our Facebook Live weekly or soon to be regular basis of Rodeo Houston Live. And we'll continue to be focused on the things that are important to us and are part of the mission of the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, including education, including agriculture, Western heritage, and connection to the community. So today, our guest will be Wayne Morrison from Reliant, who is not only a great partner of the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, but has some great information to share with all of us about how to make your home a lot more energy friendly. And we'll be looking at the ways that they can suggest we do that through the Reliant Smart House. And that's where Wayne will be joining us in just a couple of minutes live from that location. Has a lot of great information to share. So I hope you'll stay tuned. We'll get started here in just a little bit over a minute or so. We would like to let everyone get involved, get on board. And as always, I, David Brady, want to encourage you to start a watch party on Facebook. If you're already tuning in, you're already a part of watching this great weekly chat that we're bringing to you, then I encourage you to start a watch party. It just helps a lot with the viewership and helps us get these messages that are so important out to more of the public. We also invite you to like, comment, and share as much as you'd like. Let us know where you're viewing us from, whether it's right here in the great state of Texas or from all over the world. We've had so many great comments come in from places like Australia and India, as well as right here in the greater Houston area. So I hope everyone is safe and healthy and taking care of each other during this time of pandemic and crisis that feels like things are getting better and moving in the right direction, but continue to be not only taking care of yourself, but take care of your family and your neighbors as well. So we've got people already chiming in and saying howdy from Yoakum, Texas. So happy to have Sherry on board. Ruthie is watching from McAllen out in the western part of the great state of Texas. So a lot of folks already tuning in and getting involved. And again, just a reminder, we're going to start here in just a few moments, but we'll be joined by Wayne Morrison from Reliant, one of the great partners, a heritage partner of the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, who'll be joining us to talk live from the Reliant Smart House. Also want to say howdy to Roxanne, who's watching right here in Houston as well. Amy, thanks for tuning in from Alvin. We've got people from all over the greater Houston area watching here this morning. Want to remind you real quickly that we will have AgChat next Wednesday, and just confirm that your former host of AgChat, which is now Rodeo Houston Live, will be the new president and CEO of the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, Dr. Chris Bowman. He'll be joining me a week from today at this exact same time. So we're looking forward to having him engaged and involved with the conversation. Howdy to Judith from Long Island, New York. So thanks to everybody for tuning in, and we're just about ready to get started. With that, I'm going to once again remind you that you're watching the new version of what was formerly AgChat Live. It's Rodeo Houston Live, and we'll be joined by our guest in just a minute. But as I welcome everybody on here, I want to remind you that the purpose of these Facebook Live chats, or if you're watching on YouTube as well, the purpose of these is to promote agriculture, education, and community support. Last week, we had such a great time and a great conversation talking with Michelle Castle at the Houston Zoo. On World Bee Day last Wednesday, she showed us the pollinator gardens at the zoo, taught us about pollinators, about native species plants that are great for pollinators, especially here in the Houston area, and the important role that not only those plants play, but also the role that pollinators play for us and the world of agriculture as well. You can check out last week's episode if you missed it on Facebook, and you can also visit houstonzoo.org for more information. And I heard some really great news from my friends at the Houston Zoo yesterday. I'm sure many of you have seen this as well. They announced an official open date, a reopen date for the zoo. I believe it is June 3rd that the Houston Zoo will be opening back up to the public. They'll have a couple of days for their members to come out early. Check out houstonzoo.org for all the information, but I will tell you specifically that it's requiring reservations. So you'll need to go to their website, not just show up at the Houston Zoo when they do reopen. But that is such wonderful and great news for our partners and friends over at the Houston Zoo and for the entire community. So today we're at the Reliant Smart House, and we'll learn about smart technology that you can do at your own home. And Reliant, as I've mentioned before, is a longtime heritage partner of the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. We are so grateful for their support throughout all these years, and they have been on board for a long time and supported so many of the wonderful initiatives that have happened here at the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. And from Reliant, we're bringing in the principal of Smart Energy from Reliant, Wayne Morrison. Wayne, welcome and thanks for joining us today.
Hello and welcome to the Smart Home in Houston.
So Wayne, if you don't mind just starting off pretty basically, can you tell us about your role? Because that's an interesting role, Principal of Smart Energy. Can you tell us what that means and what you do?
Sure. Smart Energy, as we think about kind of all the different technology that we see, right? We may go in the store. I have the opportunity to go to Consumer Electronics Show. So there's just a lot of technology out there. And so for Reliant, we're always looking for those new innovative pieces of technology that we can use to help customers, help them better understand energy and better how to use energy. So that's what my job is to look at all those different technologies and help integrate that into products and services we offer customers.
And you've already mentioned it. You're standing in the Smart House, the Reliant Smart House, which is beautifully decorated, by the way. I love the look. But in addition to that, there's a lot of great technology. You touched on a little bit of it, but will you give us an idea of what the purpose of the Smart House is and what, as an organization, Reliant looks to gain from it?
Sure. So for the Smart Home, really two main things we do. First is being able to actually talk about the things that Reliant offers in the market today. So most people know great new innovative products or price plans that are available to customers through Reliant for electricity, but Reliant also offers security and home automation. So professionally installed monitored security service, and then the ability to control things like your thermostat, lights, and also that home automation. And Reliant also has a home services group that can help with air conditioning and heating. So we're able to talk about things we actually offer in market today. And then second, look at all sorts of new technology. So that could be anywhere from solar panels, which we have on the house, batteries that can be paired with solar panels to store that usage for use at a different time of day, and then other technologies we'll talk about today.
Well, if you're going to talk about it, would you mind give us a tour and walk around the Reliant Energy Smart Home?
Sure, we'd love to. We'll start with the smart meter. So in the Houston, Dallas-Fort Worth, South Texas part of the state of Texas, these new smart electric meters have been installed. And so these have communications, so the utility can send signals down and get information back. And so they actually record how much electricity you've used every 15 minutes. So if you think about that, that's like 96 times a day they're taking a meter read, or about 3,000 times a month. So just a lot of information is there. Reliant was first to be able to take that information and offer customers a weekly email. And on that weekly email, you can see how much electricity you used last week, how much you used this week, just to know kind of what the change is. And then it projects what the bill amount will be at the end of the billing period. And then at the bottom of that is a energy tip. So again, we're able to help customers better understand what they're doing and kind of how to do better. And the information from the smart meters that's available helps us with that. So smart meters is the first thing we'll talk about. When we talk about energy savings or energy tips, here in Texas, right, we know it's hot, right? We've just started into this summer. And so things like a Nest thermostat or a smart thermostat is really what we want to talk about. That thermostat is responsible for about 60% of your bill for the energy usage associated with cooling and heating. And so with that, the Nest thermostat allows you to control that from your phone. You can set schedules. One of the great things that I like is called geofence. And so if you imagine taking your phone, and when I'm at my home, I want a certain temperature for cooling. And then when I'm away, we'll adjust that up 4 degrees so I can save energy, save electricity while I'm gone. And then the phone knows its location and talks with the thermostat. And so as you drive away from your home, it automatically adjusts the temperature to save you money. And then the other thing is, as you're starting to drive back home, it sees kind of when you're back inside that fenced area around your house, and will automatically start cooling your home so it's more comfortable when you get home. So that geofence technology is some great things to be able to help you save energy.
While you're walking to your next location, I just want to remind everybody we're talking to Wayne Morrison from Reliant, one of the great heritage partners of the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, and we are in the Reliant Smart Home this morning. Thanks for tuning in and watching, and give us those comments. Let us know where you're watching from, like Elise, Stephanie, and Richard, all from the Houston area. All right, Wayne, where are you now?
All right, so now we'll talk about smart speakers. You may hear like the Nest Hub is what we have here today that we'll speak about. So Reliant has price plans that can include things like a Nest thermostat or a Nest Hub. And so with that, you can pair those. And if you have a smart speaker, you may be used to setting timers, reminders, those kind of things, or just searching for some information. But you can pair that with your thermostat. So we can say, hey, Google, what's the hallway temperature?
It's currently 76 degrees.
Right, so we can just by voice, we don't even have to get off the couch anymore, right? We can just talk across the room and make it more comfortable in the room. So again, kind of those smart speakers, beyond playing music, setting timers, they're also available to help you with energy usage as well. With that, we'll go to the smart refrigerator. So this one is Samsung series of refrigerators. It has basically a screen built into it. And so with that, right, date and time, temperature, it has the ability to surf the internet. So we can look things up on the internet. If you have a certain model of Samsung TV, it will actually display what's on the TV so you don't miss any action while you're in the kitchen. It has cameras. So if you type that, you can see actually what's inside your refrigerator. So you can do this from your phone as well. So if you happen to be at the store, it's like, do I have something? You may be able to see it from the cameras inside. You can create a shopping list here. So kind of different things that you need. You can, again, see this from your phone as well. Whiteboard. So maybe someone wants to draw a picture for you. You can see that one and share that with others. It also has Pandora built in. So you can play music while you're right in the house. And so, again, just different things that we see technology, right? The communications being built into all these different things to make it easier for us to work with different devices and actually kind of better understand what we're doing.
I could keep my recipes right up on the screen while I'm busy making them, right?
That's exactly. And so there's even kind of more pages. So again, a lot of different things you can do, but it's just a fun experience. If you need a corny dad joke, right? Well, this part of the tour, corny dad. If you were a refrigerator, what song would you play?
You're asking me?
So that's the question I ask on tours.
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. I'm a George Strait guy, so probably Amarillo by Morning.
Yeah, we always go for things like Cold as Ice or Ice Ice
Baby,
those kind of things. So,
I missed the joke. I missed the joke.
Dad joke. So that's, yeah, it's always fun.
I really need to catch up on some of my dad jokes, don't I?
That's it. So with that, we'll turn and look kind of further down the room. We've got some battery operated shades in the room. So we'll grab the button here. But with the battery operated shades, right, some people joining, you're right, you may have done the lemon battery project, right? So we see kind of how batteries can help us, and we know charging our phone, things like that. But for these, we have motorized shades. So with the press of a button, we can actually set up a scene, maybe like for movie night. And so we can have those shades automatically lower. The other thing is we talk about electricity usage, right? If we lower those shades in the middle of the day, then that stops the heat from coming in. And so your air conditioner does not have to work as hard to remove that heat. So again, different technologies can help us in different ways. We turned off the lights in the kitchen too. So right, kind of that scene would take care of turning on or off lights, lowering shades, so they can do multiple things. If we wanted to change them, right, we can change that from our phone, or we can always just walk back over to the switch on the wall and turn those back on. Here in the smart home, we have these smart lights, the Philips Hue lights. And so with these, kind of, we see right now we have kind of the traditional white, kind of cool white light that we would expect. But with that, these all have little wireless radios built into them, so we can pick different colors or different scenes. So here, this one says tropical twilight, so kind of purple and orange type lights. You can create your own. So we created, right, this could be the Houston Rodeo, right? You see the orange kind of color there. Astros, Houston Texans, and the Rockets. So you can create your own version. Each light bulb has a wireless radio in it. And so from the app, you can control one light individually or a group of lights like we've done in this room. So again, just different technologies. Of course, LED lights use so much less, right, than the old incandescent light bulbs. Incandescent light bulbs, probably about 180 degrees each. So, I mean, very hot. So your air conditioner had to work harder. Now with the new LED lights, the ability to change those out and save energy from lighting, but also the amount of heat that has to be removed by your air conditioner is a good thing to do as well. So lighting is another great option. We'll raise the shades again.
And while he's doing that, I just want to remind everyone once again that you're tuned in to Rodeo Houston Live. And today our guest is Wayne Morrison from Reliant Energy. He is at the Reliant Smart Home and giving us a tour. And I'm very curious as to what that is to your immediate right. Is that a robot?
It is. Well, so this robot, they call it telepresence. When you cannot actually be somewhere, you have the option to have a robot like this. And so when you call it up, you can have your face on it so people can see you. You can then drive around. Right? So kind of the app on the phone, you can kind of do the follow along here. So we can drive it, turn it around. You even have the ability to raise or lower. So if we want to, right, if we wanted the selfie, right, we can do the selfie while we're here. But with that, you have that ability to be someplace that you're not. So I've done a couple of tours when I was not in town, used the robot and actually drove around and could actually talk about some different things to the groups that were here. So again, a lot of different technology is available, and we'll wrap it up. We'll kind of turn around and look at the windows with the window film real quick. So
hey Wayne, we've got a question coming in.
Sure.
Lisa watching from here in Houston wants to know if you can send that robot to check on your kids.
Lisa, yes, you can. I've not figured out how to make it go up and down stairs yet, but yeah, the one group that was here, it was a Sunday afternoon. They happened to be here, and so in the different room is where the robot normally stays. So I started it up and drove it in to meet them, and so they didn't know I was coming in. It is electric motor. We'll kind of look at it again here. So electric motors down here that drive that. You can turn it left and right, raise and lower. It has a camera, so you can see what's going on. So kind of from the app, you can see what's going on and drive it. And so with that, it's so quiet, they didn't hear it coming in the room. So I was able to talk to them before they actually saw the robot coming in the room. So and that's good technology.
That particular robot, it resembles a good friend of ours from the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo.
You know, howdy. That's it. We're glad to have you with us today.
Howdy. Hey, Wayne, we had Kelly from Tomball ask the question of, there's a lot of great stuff in there. but wants to know what are some things that they can do in their home right now to help reduce energy costs, and especially with so many people at home this summer. There's going to be a lot more people at home during the hottest months of the year. Are there things people can do to lower their energy bills now without completely making over their house to a smart home?
Yes, there are. And so, right, again, air conditioning is about 60% of your bill. So that's really the first thing we want to look at. So when you look at your thermostat, there's a setting for auto and a setting for on. You want to make sure it's in that auto position so that that fan's not running when it doesn't need to. Another thing, we've got ceiling fans here in the room. So right, turning a ceiling fan on allows you to adjust the temperature maybe like 2 degrees up on your thermostat. And with the ceiling fan, you want it running in the counterclockwise position. Another thing, right, we showed the shades, right, but shades or blinds, being able to lower those to reduce electricity usage. And basically, you don't have to have your air conditioner work as hard because you're not allowing as much heat in. And so every degree below 78 degrees increases your usage about 7%. So again, those are some ways for your air conditioning system to be able to work better. Next thing would be like dishwasher, right? Because we are home, we're probably eating more at home too. Now restaurants have started opening up, but we've been used to eating more at home. So when we run the dishwasher, we want to make sure it's full. And also if you have that air dry option, use that, and that will help save electricity as well. And if you do laundry, so the washer and dryer, if you do that earlier in the morning or later in the evening, then that will help not put as much load on your air conditioner as well. And then, right, get outside, pull out the grill, or maybe use the microwave or a slow cooker, right? They don't use as much electricity, don't put as much heat in the house that your air conditioner has to remove. And last thing would probably be pool pump, right? If you happen to have a pool, you want to make sure that that timer is set correctly, that it's not running 24/7. So those are some great tips to help customers.
Gotcha. Hey, one last question from me, Wayne, is you guys at NRG, great partners of the rodeo, great community partners. You've got a lot of initiatives going on that relate to conservation. I've seen when I walk into the rodeo or the Texans games or events at NRG Stadium, I see the giant panels you guys have out there. I know you do electric charging stations in the parking lots as well. What are some of the community initiatives that you guys have, and why is that important to you as a company?
Yeah, well, I always think of when I first walk in the rodeo grounds, I see that big Reliant boot, right? That's a great thing to see. And yeah, so the charging stations, different community programs, even the charging stations for your phone that are around, right? So really, Texas Youth, local nonprofit, is very important to us. So that's why, yeah, we're honored to participate with the rodeo. But one thing you may see is there are 599 solar panels on that pedestrian bridge and an entranceway, and that generates about 220 kilowatts of power, renewable power, and that's enough to serve up to about 44 Texas homes during the peak periods of demand. So the solar panel walkways may be one thing you see. Another thing inside the stadium, about 65,000 energy efficient LED field lights, and that reduced the energy usage about 60% from the previous lighting. And so really marked NRG Stadium as one of the first professional football venues to install that type lighting. And then electric vehicle charging, right? We continue to see adoption of electric vehicles continue to increase. And the ability to charge at home is what a lot of people do, but when you're out in public or as you drive around, kind of that ability to pull in somewhere and charge is something that we like to do. So those free charging stations, level 2 is what they're referred to as. So think 240 volt at your home, like your electric dryer, electric range, about that kind of load is what's used to charge the vehicle. And that gives you about 12 to 20 miles an hour of range. And by doing that, those EV charging stations are actually available anytime, right, excluding certain event days, but those are available to anyone to drive by and charge.
That's awesome. We did have a question come in from Randy. I thought was a good one to ask of you. And for how long does it take for some of these smart technologies to, once you install them, how long does it take before the cost of installation offsets through less energy use.
So again, we'll go back to thermostat. That's always, if you don't have a smart thermostat, those can save between 7 to 15%. So that always generally has a better payback than some of the others. But again, you may already have window blinds or window shades, you're just not using those. And so the ability to use those, a ceiling fan. So that's why as you get into different pieces of technology, like a smart refrigerator, the smart refrigerator uses 1.5 kilowatt hours a day. So very small usage compared to, I did analysis for my old 17-year-old refrigerator before we replaced it. But again, you don't just go out and buy a new refrigerator every year. So kind of when it's time to replace those larger appliances like that, you want to look for that Energy Star rating. And again, just the lower usage is going to be a great thing.
And how can folks find out more about what you're doing in the community, but also how to help themselves at home?
Sure. Well, always Reliant.com is a great place for you to start. And remind me,
Save at home.
Save at home. Reliant.com/save at home.
Gotcha. And then one more important question I have is, how can I rent that Reliant Smart Home for a few nights? Is it on Airbnb?
Not yet. But yeah, would always love to talk to you about that. But
right.
Yeah, it's a great house and lots of other technology, but thank you for allowing us to join you today.
All right. Well, Wayne, put me at the top of the list when it's available. And thanks for sharing the great information today. But really, most importantly, thanks to you and everyone at the Reliant family for being great partners of the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, supporting our mission and being there for so many years. We really do appreciate it.
Great. Thank you.
All right. That's Wayne Morrison from Reliant Energy, taking us through the Reliant Smart Home. Special thanks again to him for spending some time with us today on Rodeo Houston Live. I want to remind you that when you're looking to make any of these changes at your home, don't forget to follow government guidelines and make sure that you're staying closely in tune with what's important and what's going to work at your home. And you can find all that at Reliant.com. So once again, thanks to everybody for tuning in today. Join us next week, Wednesday at 11 o'clock for another Rodeo Houston Live with the new president and CEO of Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, Dr. Chris Fullman. I'm very excited to have that conversation with him, for you to get to know him a little bit differently maybe than you have before when he was hosting this weekly chat. I'm David Brady. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Have a great rest of your week. Stay safe and stay healthy.